Hey everybody, welcome to our first ever exciting Vave Health live demo. I'm Renee DeVerstal and I'm the Chief Medical Officer of Vave. I'm beyond excited to have you here in the midst of a pandemic. We were hoping to be in a super exciting showroom or at a meeting or something else in person, but instead we're here and we're honored to have you with us to learn more about who we are and what we do. There have been some really exciting developments, including our commercial launch. And I personally am especially fired up for upcoming educational events that will feature national experts and clinicians, educators both. And given the fact that, again, we're all mostly stuck at home or in the hospital, not in between, we wanted to give you a taste of what's to come in the most authentic and realistic way we possibly could. So first, I would like to introduce my team with me today. Just to my left, I have Amin, who is our incredible visionary founder and CEO. To his left, I have Caroline Zeisbreich. She is our medical director for many years. And we are all just super excited to be here and share everything with you. I do encourage you to please submit questions, whatever platform you're watching this on, please submit questions. We're going to tackle as many as possible at the end. And we really want to answer any burning questions you have at all. So now we're going to get on to the good stuff. Before we move forward to what we're looking forward to, we need to look back. So Amin, I would love to hear, why are we here? And what was your vision when you started Vave?
Sure, that's actually a great start. Thanks, Renee. I'm happy to be here and share my story. So my exposure to ultrasound began as a graduate student at Stanford when I was working on deep miniaturization technologies for ultrasound to create basically a whole ultrasound imaging system at the tip of a 3mm catheter. And that was really fascinating, having gone through that process and seeing what ultrasound could do as a modality and what technologies were available. But having done that, I was puzzled as to why this amazing technology is still in the hands of few, and it's not in with every physician. It's not with every nurse, every healthcare professional. And the technological aspect of this problem and this solution were really fascinating. One needed to come up with quality imaging at a really portable form factor and at a cost point that would enable the massive use of this technology. And these are hard problems to solve. And I love solving hard problems, but that wasn't the reason why I started Vave. It's the impact. You guys as physicians are going through this on a daily basis. You're making an impact on people's lives. And as a technologist, I wanted to start Vave to create a similar impact and maybe accelerate it, maybe scale it. And the goal became to empower physicians with state-of-the-art technologies so that in some senses they become a better version of themselves and they can deliver better care to patients at the point of care. And I'll tell you another thing. It's sad, but I learned that every 100-second one woman dies from complications related to pregnancy. Every 100-second, and that's just wrong. That's just, in this day and age, I can't still believe it. And so in a nutshell, the vision behind Vave became to save a life. And you know what? To this date, every single person that I've hired in the company signed up for that mission. And we have some incredible talent in the team, and they all could have worked for our neighbors, Apple, Google, and get paid a ton more money, but they decided to sign up for our mission. And I'm incredibly lucky to have been given this opportunity to make this impact and to be with this amazing team. Caroline is one of those early employees that has been with us forever or from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so excited to see that she's passionate more than when she even started. And I'm also very excited to finally, after so many years, be in a position to, in real world, partner with physicians and realize the mission.
It's amazing. It's really great to hear that, the story and the mission behind the vision and the passion behind the vision. And I think it's impactful for all of us. And Caroline, so now on to you. Amin said you've been with the company as the medical director since the very beginning. And I've been meeting you at meetings and talking about ultrasound stuff for years. So I want to hear your why as well.
Yeah, thanks, Renee. Sure. While I was working in the hospital as an internist, I usually had to wheel a big, bulky ultrasound machine around by myself in order to be able to scan or have the patient move to the ultrasound room that was 3 floors below. So that made me often think twice if I really should perform an ultrasound. However, the advantage of gaining ultrasound was just so important. So whether that was to rule out hydronephrosis in a patient with acute renal failure in the middle of the night, or whether it was for procedural guidance before performing thorough paracentesis, I witnessed how essential ultrasound information can be for treatment and diagnostic guidance. So there was often a delay because of the lack of easily available devices. And yeah, especially patients, for example, in infectious rooms, they had to wait much longer to receive an ultrasound because the devices needed disinfection afterwards, and that disinfection took long and was complicated. So we often scheduled them for the end of the day after everyone else had their scans first. It became really clear to me that this slow process had to change, and I kept pushing our administration until I had a budget to order handheld devices. During that time, though, unfortunately, there weren't any good ones available. So fast forward a few years, my clinical and personal missions united, and I am still beyond excited to work together with our really great team on our exciting product.
It's awesome, Caroline. I love the context, and I will say, as a hospitalist in the days of COVID, even though Oregon has not been incredibly hard hit, of course we all wish we were less hit, but the delay of care during those rule outs and during the infections, it's something I constantly hear from my hospitalist colleagues. So I also think, not everybody knows. So Caroline's actually based over in Germany, and your story provides so much context, because I don't know anybody that would say, sure, I'll take a midnight or a 1 a.m. meeting because it's that important and I care that much about the work. So the context makes me appreciate your selflessness that much more. So moving along, we're going to do some live scanning in a little bit here, but first we're going to have Amin is going to show us the form factor of the device in person, go through some of that, and the team created a really fantastic video to show the device in action. So we're working with what we have given the pandemic, but trying to show you the different facets of use. So now we'll pass it over to Amin, and he'll get us going.
Okay, thank you. So here it is, guys. Here's the probe. It's a ultra portable system, wireless. It's a device that basically wirelessly communicates with phones, tablets, iOS or Android devices with the app that is running on those devices. Let me just show you a few quick things. Here's the probe market that you see on the side of the probe. We have actually designed something that I think is really neat. It's what we call a probe cap. It's that plugs basically or snaps into the head of the probe to protect the sensitive part, which is the transducer. So you can basically snap that on and off easily as you use, or you're basically carrying the probe with you around. The device has a power on and off button in the back that, like your computer, you basically push and hold, and there's a light here that in this probably broadcast is not visible, but you will see that light up as you turn on the probe. And then you can basically just push the same power button, hold it for a few seconds, and it will turn off again. And one more thing, so the device has a replaceable and rechargeable battery. It doesn't have any lock, pretty neat. You just hold on to the side of the battery basically and just slide it out. And it comes out that easy. And just put it back in and slide it in and snaps in. And that would be a product in my hand demo. Let's roll the video and see the product in action.
I'm going to begin a connection between the Vave transducer by turning it on the bottom of the transducer, which begins the creation of the Wi-Fi network, which will connect with the iPhone. I'm going to open up the app for Vave on the iPhone also, and enter the live scanning mode. You can see how quickly it connected. And now that I'm in live scanning, I can change the depth by dragging my finger up or down on the screen. I can change the gain by going from left to right. And I can freeze an image and then save it either as a still or as a clip. And you'll see the counter in the lower right is in increments for the counting the number of images. When I'm in live mode, I can use the mode button in the lower left to enter M mode, and I'll use my thumb to drag the cursor to the position I want. Once I release, it automatically goes to the cascade mode for the M mode, which again, I can freeze and save as a still.
Building off that great video, I'm going to actually show you the device a bit more and do some live scanning. So I have the probe in my hand and already connected to the app. We are on the imaging screen and let's do some scanning. So let's pretend we want to look at the kidney from the patient that came in the middle of the night with acute renal failure. And here we are. So I want to adjust the gain a little bit and the depth. Here we go. And then I want to acquire an image and send to my attending, which we pretend is Renee. So let's annotate the image so she knows what we are looking at. This is the right kidney. Here. And let's also measure it so she knows. Okay. Good. And I'm going to save the image. So we can continue some live scanning and look at the kidney a little bit more. But this one image is what I want to share with Renee. So let's look at our gallery. Here is the image I acquired, and I'm going to end the exam. Next, I want to share them directly in the app with Renee. So what I'm going to do is I'm clicking the share button and I'll type her email address, renee@vavehealth.com. So I give it a name so she knows. Share. Okay, Renee, I just sent you my image. So you've taught hundreds of learners throughout all stages of their careers. As more clinicians try to learn ultrasound, what do you think is the key to making it success?
One of the questions we had was, as more clinicians are learning ultrasound, what can we do to make it a success? And so my story was about the meeting that we do in Oregon every July. And last year I had a doc come up to me, mid-career doc, and he said, hey, I've been to your meeting 3 times and I love it. 2 days of scanning every time. And I feel good. I feel ready to go afterwards. And then I make it back to rural Oregon and I never change my practice. And how do I actually change my practice? And I hear that over and over when I used to be honored to co-direct American College of Physicians courses as well. People saying, I don't have an expert to teleguide me, even if I had that. I don't have anybody to QA my images. I don't have any support where I am. And so educational theory-wise, this makes sense. We know that longitudinal education, longitudinal curricula are more effective and have less skill decay. But what we don't know is how to deliver it to the over 200,000 American Board of Internal Medicine certified practicing docs. And so one of the ways that Vave hooked me as a person, as a clinician, was with this concept of Vave Assist. And that's where within the app, there's a little button up top and you can submit your exams and your images for asynchronous feedback from experts. And again, this was just important to me because I hear time and time again from mid-career physician that didn't have it in their residency program. And so as we work ahead to integrating this into family medicine, internal medicine, pediatric residency programs, it was important to me to not ignore those out in practice And so that was a great one. But now I'm going to pull up my phone here and we're going to review what Caroline sent me. She's my med student and I'm her attending. Sorry, Caroline, for the demotion. So in the app here, under exams, I'm going to tap exams, and then on the far right, I can tap my shared, and they're shared with me. This top one is the one that Caroline sent me just now. So the pic is going to load. And so what she did here, okay, so she had talked through this, but again, we'll narrate over that later. So she talked through right kidney, and we have our caliper. And so she's showing us so of course it's showing on my phone, but not on the screen right now. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so it says right kidney. She annotated this and she put in the calipers across, showing me the dimension there. So what I might do is I would say here, like Caroline, please show, and there's a little bit of a lag, but so please show both kidneys, first of all, and rock to measure entire kidney. Miss the bottom, and I'm not gonna torture you while I type that, but that's the point. So I'd be able to right then and there and give feedback to her. And so that is one of the things. And so that was just an example of, we already have that contact. You can send it to anybody, anywhere, but the Vave Assist, you're going to get similar type feedback from an asynchronous expert. So another feature that I love is, so Vave Assist was one, and Vavecast is another one that really hooked me. So in this one, we're going to play a little clip here on the left. So I'm scanning and I want to share it. So I tap my Vavecast button, pulls up a QR code. Someone else, anyone with the app can do this. And this will play a couple times as I talk through it. So within the app, they open Vavecast and they simply scan it. And then they're both going to be on the same Wi-Fi signal from that probe, okay? So again, I'm scanning, I say, hey, you want to see this? Pull up the QR code. They're in the app. They're going to scan the QR code, and now it's going to both of them. And just a nerdy little side conversation from my clinic a couple weeks ago, I had a patient who had been an echocardiographer back in the 80s, and they had described to me calculating ejection fractions using calculus and everything. And so we were talking about the tech and how far it's come, and it led to them scanning themselves with my probe and their partner and my med student both watching at the same time as everybody. And of course, COVID, they were all sanitized, but it just ended up being this really fun way to connect with my patient in the clinic. And I start on the wards next Friday, and I look forward to trying this out. So that is Vavecast. And now we're going to take it back. Again, those are two of the things that as an educator really hooked me. So Amin, I know you didn't want to delve too far into the tech, but I'm so in love with these features that I'll stop waxing poetic, but I'm just curious if you could give us some of the vision behind it.
Sure, and by the way, I'm happy to dive into the tech. Maybe not now, but look, the side of the tech that I really like to focus on, especially in this setting, is not so much what the tech is, but what it does and what it enables, and that's the part that gets me more excited. In my view, I mean, if you have the most super sophisticated technology that's going to die after a year, nobody cares. So let's just focus on first and foremost what this technology is going to enable. There's this amazing presentation by Steve Jobs where he talks about how Apple approaches product design, and he says everything starts from user experience. They first start from that point, and then they invent the technology and build a technology that will support that user experience. And he's giving you this example of a laser printer that he's so proud of, but what he says is, all that I need to do is to show this printout and to tell you how great this technology is because of the printout and what it has created. And that's how I see us and our technology. Let's look at the product and what it enables and the utility of the product. And that would be the part that I'd love to focus on. And that said, don't get me wrong, we have amazing technology. We have one that does what the users again have asked for from the beginning, and that we can make at such low cost that will enable the massive use of ultrasound that initially I set out for the company to do, for us to do as a mission, that will allow us to basically get to that massive expanded use of ultrasound that quite honestly it deserves and the patients deserve. And with that, also I'd like to remind the folks that we have, we're taking reservations right now for our system, and they can go onto our website and save their spot. We've been pleasantly surprised by the number of reservations that have come through, and we're trying to keep up. And I'm happy to announce here that we're starting shipments in the fall, and we're going to be doing that on a first come, first serve basis. And we're ramping up manufacturing as we speak to keep up with demand.
Fantastic. I will say, since starting as a CMO, it's been really rewarding and exciting to see people engaging on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and wanting to hear more. And for me personally, I wish I were an amazing researcher. I'll never be that triple threat academic person that does, the research, clinical, and educational work. But to me, the focus on clinical and educational missions is in line with mine, and so that's why I'm here. That is my why. So now we are ready for some questions. I think Shantanu has our awesome behind the scenes assistant. Oh, and there actually was a question about would we be able to redo Caroline's demo. Caroline, do you want to say something? Let's see if we can hear you. No, so we're gonna dub over it, and that's no biggie. So we have an excellent. You're just she's our beautiful Vanna White. So question from someone on YouTube: how far does the device need to be for the probe to work? Basically, how close does it need to be for it to work? And that one is an engineering question for Amin.
It's an engineering question, but also is one that does what it's supposed to do, I guess, in a way. So you have basically a wireless unit, and as a physician, basically you have your other device that is within proximity of the probe, and both of them will basically, that proximity will work up to a distance of 5-10 meters, which is something that we wanted to assure for use cases like Wavecast that Renee was talking about. That will allow basically a teacher scanning a patient, and then for the students not to be super close to the probe or the display, and be able to be broadcasted to them as well. So you're looking at basically anywhere from 0 distance to 5-10 meters from the probe easily.
And this is one I've yet to test this, but I'm super excited again when I go back on the wards. With PPE and trying to reduce PPE, I think I might be able to say to my students, okay, you guys out here, I'm going to go in and see the patient since I'm the attending and I have to see the patient anyway, and I'm going to Vavecast you the images so that you can be engaged. And then I also really look forward to, I saw a fantastic talk at WinFocus by Andrew Lateplo, and he had talked about trying to have one person be demonstrating the anatomist, another person doing the buttons, another person discussing questions. And so I, as an educator, picture 3-4 students all 6 feet away from the patient and say, okay, Joe, what should Marie do to actually demonstrate the kidney instead of the stomach we're seeing right now? What movement will she do with the probe to make that happen? And so for me, just engaging more educators is really the goal. So I'm going to take the next question, which is, in that video, Siri, I am not talking to you. So in that video, Rick mentioned, our sonographer mentioned the iPhone. And so, in case you're like me and you have different people at your work and you fight over Apple versus Android or Google or whatever, we have, it is agnostic and it will go to any of the devices. And you can even be streaming at once. You can Vavecast to an Apple and an Android at the same time. So, as much as I would like to win that battle by having a one winning my side of the argument, I can't with that. So, okay, the next question here, Amin, you mentioned this pricing, and what differentiates this pricing from other low cost models out there?
That's a really, really good question. So gonna step back a little bit and maybe take a little bit longer to get to that answer. I think what we've done here with our pricing, I feel is really interesting and great. We've done something that I think some of the other industries have already moved to this kind of a contemporary pricing model. And I believe that the rest of the industries will also follow. You see examples of that, like there used to be a day when we used to buy cars, and then the leasing model came through and you only paid for what you needed, which was the service from the car on a monthly basis, and the maintenance was covered, the warranty was covered. And then as the technology evolved, 2 or 3 years later, you return the car and get a new car. And same thing you're seeing basically with phones. I don't buy a phone anymore. I buy basically a membership plan for my phone because I know a year later the technology is going to have advanced so much that I don't want to carry something obsolete. So I'm signed up for that, and I don't think I will ever buy a phone. I just sign up for that membership plan. And then after a year, I return my probe and get the newest technology. And what we have done is exactly that. We have put together a pricing plan that is super affordable. You don't pay the upfront cost to own a system, which I don't think anybody would want to do. You pay a $99 a month membership fee, and you have basically access to the probe, you have access to the app, all the software features, the updates, warranty included, year 1, year 2, and 2 years on, we come up with a new technology, you return your probe, we'll ship you a new one. And you never have to worry about warranty and then your technology getting obsolete. I'm very, very excited about that, having launched it for the first time in our industry. And then the feedback we've received from folks out there, it's been super, super amazing and supportive.
Yeah, totally. And I'm a super tech junkie. I love my new phone every 2 years, and I'm starting to push it to maybe like every 1 year. But anyway, so to me, that's very appealing. Next, we have a question from LinkedIn. Can you compare the footprint of the transducer to that of other devices? Looks smaller from the video, but just wondering if it is, and perhaps if that would make cardiac images easier to obtain. So I'll tackle the bottom part of that and say, I can't, FDA, we can't make false promises that we haven't proven. So I cannot promise you that a smaller footprint will enable you to get better cardiac images, but it logically follows. So no promises, but Amin, I know you don't have an extra one handy, but could you comment or at least hold up the footprint and demonstrate the small nature of that, perfect between the ribs?
Yeah, so basically, the way I can also answer this is that what you have here is a true, what people call a phased array probe, and a lot of you are familiar with vector. Some people call it sector, phased array. It's a product that is dedicated for cardiac imaging, and one of the requirements of that product is a smaller footprint so that it basically fits nicely between the ribs. So it's exactly that. So yes, the footprint is as big as what you have seen previously in cart-based systems and systems that are dedicated for cardiac.
Excellent, thank you. So there's another question from YouTube. Does a probe work well for vascular structures? So I guess I would counter that with which vascular structure, because aorta rockin', I can't say the things that we're working on, but it is not a linear probe. So it does not have the super high frequency at the moment. And again, I can't specify what's on the roadmap, but just keep your eyes peeled on our website and other places. So I would say deeper structures, vascular structures, sure. Anything else to add to that?
No, that's perfect. I think what we're trying to do here is to give users the best experience depending on what they want and what their need and applications are. And as Renee said, we have on our roadmap products that will address the other needs, and those will be announced as we go.
Perfect. Okay. This is an excellent question from YouTube. In the pre-COVID era, we would all be out there, hamming it up at meetings, and they'd be scanning it. This is my insertion, not theirs. So they said I would be testing it in national meetings. But since they're all virtual, would it be possible to have a test device for institutions for short term? And so I definitely, again, I like talking, so I'm going to go first, and then Amin can fill in. We've accumulated a large list of people at institutions that are interested. We have an awesome sales team, and so basically, we're just trying to get them out and getting the probes in the hands of as many people as possible in the safest way possible. And so reach out. There's like the website. You can tweet me, you can whatever, YouTube me. I'm not really on YouTube, but anyway, reach out and we will work on that. We're doing our best. Anything else, Amin, for that one?
No, that's perfect. Yes, sign
Okay.
up and we'll reach out to you. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So, all right, we're doing good on time. Question from Facebook. How long is the battery life? And so I have to let Amin answer that one because I've never had it be a problem. And so I don't know, but you probably know the specs.
Yeah. So the product, the way it is right now, will support in a continuous scanning mode over an hour of continuous battery usage. This is basically as you're actively scanning, not in freeze mode. Obviously, when you put it in freeze and between patients, it will last longer. And the other beauty of this kind of a product and our product is that as the software evolves, that performance gets even better and better over time, and you all will get it through a over-the-air update, and the performance will get better, much like a Tesla that started from a few hours or a certain number of mileage, and then over time, as their software got better, the performance of the platform and the device got better. Same thing with us. But today, as we stand, you can count on being able to continuously scan for over an hour, which should be more than sufficient for the majority of the applications. And what I would add on top of that is that the product has a interchangeable battery. So if you have certain use cases that require really, really long times, you can always have a spare battery with you that you can swap in when needed.
Perfect. That's what I was going to throw in, is that you can swap the battery out anyway. And to me, and this will lead into another question for Amin, the wireless nature of not having it plugged into my phone, which is constantly my new phone I get every 2 years. The battery life is excellent, but my backup phones, my 2 years ago model, and then the plus whatever extra if I want to be casting a bunch, those ones, the battery life isn't great. So it's not just that my probe has to have battery life, like my phone has to have battery life. And so the wireless nature of, I can have my phone charging actually while I'm scanning is something that I think is great. And I mean, when you started Vave, there weren't wireless. I mean, there wasn't a probe on the market. And so why did you try to crack this nut? Because it wasn't really focused on yet.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's a question that I can easily again tie back to our thinking and design thinking and philosophy. I remember back in the days when we were talking to physicians, there were all of these things that were coming up about the cable and how difficult, yet a lot of people could not imagine cable not being there, but you could read between lines as they were speaking that this cable is just in the way. And believe it or not, just recently I saw an ad from a company that was basically talking about how good you can manage cables. And what went in my head? I mean, why not just get rid of it? Why not just replace that cable with nothing so that you don't have to worry about it? And that's, again, goes back to what I was saying in terms of inventing technologies. The easiest route for us would have been to make a cable system, but it would not have satisfied these user experiences. And some other ones, like you've seen how, Renee, you can speak to this best, but when you are in an education setting and then you're scanning and the students have to watch you, your hands, your probe, and then also that screen that is typically far from them. So what we decided was, okay, to solve these problems through technology, let's just get rid of the cable. And it was a difficult problem to solve, to make it wireless so that it's seamless and you have the same experience as if you have a cable on the team. It wasn't an easy technological problem, but was something that will basically solve all these pain points. And I have also been on the belief that in a few years, 1-2 years down the road, phones are not going to have any plugs. They're going to be completely cordless in the sense of even charging, and you're not going to be able to plug anything into them. So good luck, or if you have to plug something to your phone. So these were kind of the reasons why we wanted to create a scalable platform from the beginning and tackle that problem and make it wireless.
Excellent. And I will say, as an educator, yes, I do love my students and residents and colleagues, but the amount of times you see, like an old gel packet in the basin or whatever, I do, the nooks and crannies terrify me. And so I'm constantly trying to model appropriate sanitation of machines. But yes, okay, we got more questions here. Another question from, so does it have color flow Doppler? Yes, we have color flow Doppler. Apologies for not including it. Again, working on COVID pandemic live demos, sometimes you leave things off. But yeah, that's the answer for that one. And then this one I'm going to kick to Amin because, yeah. So any plan on incorporating artificial intelligence in the future?
Absolutely. I'll say one thing. Too bad Caroline is not here. Sorry for the audio problem. As Renee said, we did not have this happening, but that's always the case, right? Something goes wrong.
Gotta roll with it. Gotta roll with it.
But yes, I think my view of AI, similar to a lot of industries, I think AI and artificial intelligence is going to make everybody's job in one way or another easier. And there are 3 areas that I see and we've seen as a company that could make the use of the product easier. I mean, the way I see us evolve into the future, and the product will be in a place where we will have what I call an autonomous ultrasound system, one that a consumer eventually down the road will be able to pick up a probe. I'm not saying necessarily will look the same form factor that we have for physicians, but a probe, and will be guided first and foremost in the process, capturing the right images, right views that they need, and also be provided with information, workflow, the automatic ejection fractions, the automatic measurements, but in the form of information that will let the user, be a consumer or physicians at this point in time, that everything is okay, or no, something more at a deeper level needs to happen. So guidance part, then the workflow, what I call it, management side, and then the eventually automatic diagnosis. And you see a lot of companies out there that are pushing the science forward for that, and we are also a believer in that. And as part of that membership that I was talking about, all of these features will be included and will be all inclusive within that membership plan.
Yep. So as cleared, everything will be pushed via updates. This one, Amin, so could we kick it back a little bit and explain the terms of the plus pricing plans? Or is that a more, I mean, I don't know how easy that is to describe. You give it a whirl. Not me.
Yeah, so it's fairly simple. Basically, you are signing up for a membership plan, and we will basically, as part of that plan, they will send you a probe, and you're paying basically $99 a month. We require a 1-year commitment, and only that. And annually, you will have the chance to decide that you want to continue with the membership. And every 2 years, basically, you will return your probe and we'll send you a new version or a new probe basically to you. And the warranty, as I mentioned, the standard warranty is covered as part of that membership plan. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, Renee.
That's what I know. So shoot us an email if you want more than that. Okay, now here's one that speaks to my heart. Amin, could you tell us if what we have for medical education settings?
So medical education, great question. So remember how I was talking about we really believe, and I know you do, and a lot of other people out there believe in the expanded use of ultrasound. And I believe the seed for that is medical education, medical school, and medical students. I remember in school, we had access to a lot of tools that I still to date I use in a different setting, different price, different configuration, but we had access to those and we had exposure to those. And when I started a company, one of the first goals that I had was to get to a point that medical students actually grow up with ultrasound, and all of them will have their own personal ultrasound and get to see this technology and grow up with that technology. So we are very passionate about that and that mission, and we are creating basically niche software features that will be specific to educational settings. And Renee, you're a huge part of that, of course, and also special pricing, because I believe that once all of the medical students get to see this technology, they're not going to drop it. They're not going to go without ultrasound ever again.
Agreed. And the educating on the grander scale was such a huge part of my excitement to join the team and to help contribute. I'm still at my university and still doing it there, but to help contribute on the larger scale was incredibly exciting. So we have a couple of other questions that I don't think we're going to get to. My team has learned that my pet peeve is meetings that start late or go over time. I always prefer found time rather than lost time. So we're going to shut it down here. I promise under 45 minutes. But I really do, please message us, message Vave via whatever you're watching it on right now, that we missed you, and we would really look forward to engaging with you and answering those questions. And Amin, do you have any parting words for everyone?
No,
before I get to mine.
As I said at the beginning, I'm more than excited after many years to finally be in a position to realizing that mission, and I can't wait to be helpful in any way that we can as a company to whoever it is that is out there that wants to participate in that mission of ours and reach out to us.
For sure. So I mentioned at the beginning, super excited for our #VaveEducast events, which are going to be, again, abbreviated. I find that in this virtual world, my attention span is nowhere near what it was. So we're going to do these kind of abbreviated 45 minutes or less, clinically relevant educasts with really incredible clinicians. And so the next one you can see here, actually our first and the next is September 16th, same time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be talking about POCUS in the care of COVID patients, managing the waves, and we have fantastic ER and ID critical care docs, plus an amazing surgeon who has volunteered and taken care of patients in the ICUs in not just one but 2 states. And we're going to be talking through some of the ways that point-of-care ultrasound, personal ultrasound can help in this decision-making and care of patients. So that is all that we have. It was kind of a whirlwind. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll be sure to post a revised video with some of Caroline's audio, and we will let you go 1 minute early. So everybody stay safe.